today, let's talk about orderliness for some time. God is not the author of confusion. God is an orderly God. And it's important that this generation of believers realize that God is the God of order. There is a pattern He wants His things done. Now, sometimes I hear that, Pastor, you don't understand. The generation of today, things cannot be orderly. You are wrong, sir. There might be Gen Z and all the generations that will come after them, but the house of God is still a house of order. You can express yourself very freely in God's house within the ambit of the things that He permits. The church is not a club. There's a way to behave yourself. Paul the Apostle wrote to Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 3. Let's read it, because Timothy was a young man. Timothy was a young man. 1 Timothy 3, and he wrote to him in verse 15. It says, "But if I tarry long, that thou mayest know how thou oughtest to behave thyself in the house of God," which is the ground, the church of the living God, the pillar and ground of the truth. Did you see that? Now, let me read from the Message translation, starting from verse 14. "I hope to visit you soon, but just in case I'm delayed, I'm writing this letter so you'll know how things ought to go in God's household. This God alive church, bastion of truth. This Christian life is a great mystery, far exceeding our understanding, but some things are clear enough." Okay, so it says, I want you to know how things ought to go in God's household. People of God, it's not about what you think, it's about what God thinks. So let's be careful. Somebody asked me a question recently and said, what does it mean to offer a strange fire? I said, well, it's a fire whose source is strange. Did you get that? Strange fire. You see the altar, you see fire. But except that God says, I don't recognize this as my fire. Because every fire of God must be kindled by God. Elijah could have arranged for fire easily that day. With fuel and matches, brother, look at fire. But I said, pour water, let's make it difficult for earthly fire to survive here. Then he called on God. There is a way things must be done. There is a way. Be careful of injecting your own ideas. And see, it's not just the young people, even the old people too. There's a way it's to be done. You look at the Bible and sometimes you get afraid of God. This man was trying to help the ark of God and yet he died. And you ask yourself, what killed him? Why? It doesn't look very logical. But you are dealing with God here. So things must be in order. Hallelujah.